Jeff, to that point, I know that one of the earliest Blu-ray catalog titles you guys really jumped in with was the Blade Runner Final Cut, which was a massive project, multiple versions of film, a huge restoration. And, you know, Blade Runner is a great film, I love it, but it's not exactly been a commercial success over the years. So talk about like the process in coming to the decision of bringing that title out, and certainly a lot of money was spent to prepare that, to offer it to master, to pick new extras, elaborate packaging.
It was a considerable investment, and it took a lot of time. It was about a 2-year process. We worked with Ridley Scott. The film, you're right, in many ways was not a success theatrically, but it became over time a cult film. And what we're finding in the Blu-ray market is that genre pictures, particularly sci-fi and horror, are performing very well, special effects films, action films. And Blade Runner is considered to be one of the top sci-fi films of all time. And so that made the decision easy. Again, we had to calculate whether or not it was worth the investment in time, but we got a lot of support from Ridley, and we created a great marketing campaign, again, with the benefit of time, over a year and a half. And so by the time the product came out to the marketplace, the consumer was ready to buy.
And that marketing campaign was interesting because the title benefited from a number of different SKUs. So you had a really elaborate briefcase set packaging with all kinds of extras, and Blu-ray and DVD versions of that. Then you had just disc-only configurations. So any kind of Ranger fan of that film, anyone who's potentially interested in that film on disc, had a disc they could buy that was targeted right at it.
Well, one of the challenges, again, in the digital world, with packaged media or digital, and the choices the consumer has, is really to differentiate the product. And so that product lends itself well to a unique package. And we always wanted to come up with unique packaged solutions for the consumer to get them excited to want to buy the physical product.
In terms of mastering, now obviously Virgin Over Quai, and Herbert, these are titles that fairly recently were released in pretty elaborate special editions on DVD. And one of the things that I keep hearing from people that are doing mastering is that a lot of times even these high-def transfers that were done just a couple of years ago for the latest DVD release isn't quite up to snuff for Blu-ray, and so they've got to be revisited again. I mean, how often is that kind of a situation cropped up? And talk about that challenge.
Sony has been mastering in high definition for 15 years. So virtually every title in the library has been mastered at some point. And 15 years ago, the titles that were done don't necessarily reflect the standards today. And so as we evaluate the titles we want to release, we go ahead and look at how they look and what we can do. So generally we start from the best original elements that we have, or that we can, in the case of Bridge, it was the original negative. It often is the original negative, or a high close to the original master source. And we go through and scan at high resolution. And by doing that, we find that a lot of the other challenges that we have in mastering are reduced. We get, great resolution, the best quality of color, and also we avoid some of the challenges that we see with grain. And those steps have really impacted the way our masters look today versus when we started doing this mastering 10, 15 years ago.
I think we have at Paramount kind of two opposite extremes. We have Shrek, the Shrek quadrilogy that's coming out on Blu-ray in December, and actually the original films are being remastered, and I think, yeah, why do these need to be remastered? But technology has come a long way, even in the 10 years since the first Shrek. Now there can be a consistency across the presentation. So that's an example of one extreme, and then on the other end would be something like An African Queen, where that was really unreleasable in its current condition. The film was in such bad shape, and we've been talking for probably since Shrek came out about restoring The African Queen, And it's one of the Technicolor 3-strip films. And we, like you were saying, Rita, we always want to go back to the original source material. And this one had some particular challenges in that the source material was in the possession of Jonathan Wolfe in what was Romulus Films in London. And he was, understandably, very protective of the film. So what we had to do first was kind of negotiate with him, and what he agreed to do was give us it one reel at a time. So we take one reel at a time, take that over to Kodak in London, and scan it, digitize it, and then send it over here, more of those. And then go to the next one. I think there's something like 13 reels, so it's back and forth, bicycling them. So it just, I think we ended up with a great product, but it just shows that we kind of had to wait for technology. We had to wait, it took some time, and